Welcome to the right-hand menu. You can automate your target audience engagement scenarios with our ready-to-use workflows. In this video, we're going to look at automating the registration of your customers. When they buy your product or service, either directly from your website or from any of your channel partners, you may want to get them registered so that your CRM application or your right-hand menu account is updated with your customers' details right away. Before we start, please check out our video on mapping your Google account so that you can download our workflow sheets to your Google Drive and customize them. The links to the videos are in the description. Let's get started. We're going to create a keyword called register and then map it to the product registration template, which is based on Enquiry workflow. So first, let's enable Enquiry. If you have not seen the video on automating your lead funnel using the Enquiry workflow, please check it out. You can find the video link in the description. Log in to your right-hand menu account, and go to the Settings tab. Scroll down to the Enquiry Settings section, and enable Enquiry by clicking the checkbox. Now, save the settings, and go to the Workflow tab. Now let's create a keyword called Register. Customers who have just bought your product or service can select this option to register themselves. You can capture their contact number, email address, postal address, product barcode, invoice number, etc. You can use this data later, for cross-selling or upselling your offerings, or to even offer post-sale support services. After creating the keyword, we are going to apply a workflow template on it. The template is going to be based on the Enquiry workflow. Now, save the settings, and click the Go to RBA Rules tab. In Step 2 within the RBA Rules tab, you first download the workflow template. Sign in to your Google account, and click Proceed. Now, in Step 2, select the Product Registration template, and click Download. This will download the template to your Google Drive. Now create folders in your Google Drive and move the downloaded template to the respective folder. We've explained this in our video on mapping your Google Drive account. Check out the description for the video link. We've created folders called Customers within the Inquiries folder, and nested another folder called Prod Registration within the Customers folder, as seen in Steps 4 and 5. We move the downloaded template to the folder called Prod Registration. Before we begin customizing the template, let's understand what the contents of the template look like. The first column is a field called Step Number. The numbers are generally sequential starting from 1. But it doesn't have to be in an order, though we recommend it. What's most important to remember is that the step numbers are unique. The numbers should not repeat. No two rows should have the same step number. The automation engine identifies the rows, based on the step number. Duplicate rows with the same step number will result in the synchronization of template with DB to fail. The second column, or column B, contains the text that will be posted to your target audience. The content will be read and displayed, just the way it appears in this cell. If it has a line break for a new sentence or paragraph, the line breaks will appear in the posted message too. If the character count exceeds the limits set by various digital channels, the content will be broken up into 2 or more messages. The third column, or column C, tells the automation engine what is the type of message or question that is being set up. Based on the value chosen for question type, the automation framework allows flexibility to include validations or other rules like post-processing. The simplest of these is that multiple choice type of question or text, which can have up to 10 options that the target audience can choose from, and respond to this type of message. Then we need to have at least one dialogue with a message type set up as the one, called End of Conversation. The workflow ends when this step is reached. The question or text against a row of this question type will be the last message sent to the target audience. If the workflow does not end in this type of message, the conversation will be hanging, without completion. You will not be able to see incomplete conversations in the dashboards or reports, and hence, will remain hidden. There's one more type of end of conversation, which when reached, has the option to execute an API call. You can configure the endpoint API call execution for this step number, in the RBA Rules tab. For example, you can publish the audience's personal data, captured in this workflow, to your CRM apps or in-house tools. Check out the description for a video on how to set this up. And then, we also have message types that can ask for the audience to send a free text input. The responses to some of these message types may need validation. For example, email address or age, or the year of birth. There are some that do not need a validation of the responses, like street address or notes and comments. There are special message types too, like the camera shot of the barcode, which will ask the audience to send a photo of their product barcode. You can select the question or message type to suit the conversation flow you want to design. The next column is called Step Number to Fire. We define the step number to which the control will flow to when the target audience responds to the current question or message. We provide the next step number here, unless the current row's message type is of multiple choice. This is important to remember. For multiple choice message type, we configure the next step number for each of the choices, which is the column that is next to each choice. Also, if the current row's message type is end of conversation, then the current row, obviously, does not need the next step number, since the flow ends with the current step. Any workflow step that is of a multiple choice message type will need the choices or options to be defined. These are the options that the target audience will see as a quick reply button, one for each option, like this. When you create an option, you provide the text that will be displayed, and you also provide the step number that should be triggered when this option is selected by the target audience. Hence, each option, like option A, option B, and so on, till the 10th choice, which is option J, needs the next step number to be defined. You can create up to 10 options for each multiple choice message type. Please restrict the number of characters in the option text as much as possible. If it exceeds 25 characters, some channels may trim the text. You can experiment with the display text length for each digital channels, and shorten it, if necessary. Here are some of the do's and don'ts to remember when working with template sheets. Do not edit or change the formula or the formatting. Do not rename the worksheets. The automation engine would expect the contents of the workflow steps to be available in the first worksheet called template. Do not change the name of this worksheet. Do not rename the worksheet called metadata. Do not change the content of this worksheet either. Do not change the order of the worksheets. Template worksheet must be the first. Metadata should be the second worksheet. Do not download the Google Spreadsheets to your hard disk to open and work on it with other tools like Microsoft Excel. Please open the spreadsheet in a browser only. Some of the formula and rules may get lost if other tools are used. When inserting a new row across the template worksheet, please copy the contents of a row in its entirety and paste it on the newly inserted row. There are cells that contain formatting rules and formula, which will not be available in a newly inserted row. Copying and pasting contents of an existing row will also insert the necessary rules and formatting needed for the new row to be functional. After duplicating the contents of another row, in the newly created row, you can change the content to suit the workflow step. During this process, you'll run into a warning message like this. This warning can be ignored only when you are inserting a new row, or, if you're resizing a row or column. However, if you run into this warning in any other scenario, please do not proceed with the editing. This warning lets you know that the cell, column or row that you are trying to edit is protected. Proceeding against the warning will result in the template sheet getting corrupted. If it gets corrupted, you'll have to download the sheet again and redo the customization from the beginning. If the above rules are not followed correctly, the automation engine can fail the synchronization of template with the database. We now open the template and customize the steps. This sheet has been cleared of the default steps that came with the downloaded sheet. We'll now create the steps one by one. Let's put a welcome message, nudging the audience to register their newly purchased product. We set the message type to one of the multiple choices. We'll provide the product options for the choices. In this video, we're showing 2 product choices. You can configure up to 10 options for each step. We also initialize the step number as 1 for this message. Next, we create steps that classify the products based on your customer's choice in step number 1. We create 2 models for the first product in step number 2. The step number is set as 2 and is mapped to the corresponding choice in step 1. We also provide a third option to help the customer to go back to step 1. Similarly, let's create the models for the second product from step 1. We create 2 models for this product as well. The step number is set as 3 and is mapped to the corresponding choice in step 1. Again, we provide a third option to help the customer to go back to step 1. Now, we create the step that informs the customer about capturing the product barcode image or the invoice number. We also map all choices for the model classifications to this step number, which is 4. If the customer is ready to proceed with the registration, we take him to the next step, which captures the barcode camera shot. First, we provide the instruction text. Then, we select the message type to be camera shot of barcode. Optionally, we can select the invoice number too, where customers can just type the number. Then, we map this step to the Proceed Now option of the previous step. Next, the captured photo will be processed and the barcode will be extracted automatically. This value needs to be confirmed by the customer. The next step is a confirmation message text. This will be automatically suffixed with the captured barcode number. This step is now mapped to the previous step. If the extracted barcode value is incorrect, the customer can retry the previous step by selecting No, Go Back. If the customer confirms that the barcode is correct, we then begin capturing the customer's personal data, like their name, contact number, email address, etc. Finally, we end the flow with the appreciation message, and mark it as End of Conversation. You may also define this step as an end of conversation, with custom task execution, like we've done in this video. This will send all the captured responses to any software system through API calls. This can help your CRM software get updated right away when customers register themselves. Check out the description for the video link on setting up custom task execution with API calls. We now map this final step to the previous step. For customers who are not ready to proceed with their registration, we set up another message with a reminder text, marking it as End of Conversation. We map this step to the appropriate choice in step number 4. This completes the flow, with all the branching of conversations, ending in either step number 10 or 11. Now, you upload the customized workflow sheet to your right-hand men account. We've explained this in our video on mapping your Google Drive account. Check out the description for the video link. It's time to test the uploaded workflow steps. If you're testing it on the Facebook page of your business, you first should have mapped your Facebook page already to your right-hand men account. Check out the description for a link to the video on mapping your Facebook page. You can also test it from your mobile device. Go to the Messenger app, and navigate to your business page. Start the conversation, and select Register from the menu. Now, you will be able to test the workflow and the conversation branching out. All completed conversations can be viewed in the Conversations tab. Product registration is based out of the Enquiry workflow. Therefore, you can view these conversations within the Inbound Inquiries category. For any queries, you can email support@4byoff.com. That's support@forbyof.com.